All right, welcome to another boxing lesson. This should be the fourth lesson. Just to quickly recap, our first lesson was the number one punch, which is jab, boom. Second lesson was the number two punch, which is the straight, which is boom. Then we had a lesson on our first combo, the old 1-2. Bop, 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 bop. Well, today, lesson 4, we're going to go over the third basic punch of boxing. Boxing has roughly 4 punches and a few hybrid punches. So the third punch is probably the most difficult to master, but we're gonna give it a shot. It is the hook. So back to the beginning, your basic boxing stance, you're just gonna take a pace forward and then you're just gonna be loose. Your hips are gonna be more forward than neutral. Tighten your stomach, and these bones here, very little nerve, lots of hard solid bone. You're going to protect your soft underbelly, so to speak. Got your ribs here, here's your liver. You're going to make sure you protect your liver, very important. You can get knocked out from the liver shot. We'll talk about that on another occasion. Over here you got your spleen and your stomach. So this arm is going to do that. And instead of flaring out your arms, you're going to bring them in. Nice. Bring them in. Almost over bring them in. And this is your basic defensive posture. So you got this large bone mass protecting this. Your hip is here. Tuck. And over here, same thing. So when you bring your head down and your pelvis up, you're pretty well protected. If any punch comes, all you have to do is turn, and then that'll protect your stomach. Boom, boom, boom. So with arms akimbo, how do you throw your hook? Well, first you're going to have to pretty well load the hook, otherwise it's just going to be an arm punch. So to load your hook, you're going to cut your hips in as if you are throwing a straight right. Cut your hips in, and then you're going to cut your hips back. This time you're going to do the old put the cigarette butt out. Pretend you're a smoker from long ago. You drop your cigarette butt and you're going to pivot on the ball of your foot. Now, some people don't do this move. They just throw their hook and leave their foot, or slight pivot, but we're going to work with strict technique, and we're going to crush the cigarette, also known as crush the bud. However, I don't know anybody who crushes buds like that, and since we are not violent people, we will put out the cigarette. Not that we smoke. Smoking is bad, don't do it, it's foolish. But if you haven't seen it in real life, you might have seen a movie, they drop the cigarette butt and they crush it out. So that's the motion. So again, arms akimbo. If you're wondering what arms akimbo means, you can either look it up or I'll save you the trouble. It just means hands on your hip and your arms out in kind of a Superman pose. Very noble. Or Three Amigos. That's a movie you might want to check out. So from here, arms akimbo, you're going to load. So I'm up on the ball of that foot and rock back. So from this thing, my hips, my weight is centered. So when I load, my weight's going forward and then I'm going to rock back. So how can I demonstrate this? If there's a stick right here, see, I'm into the stick, I'm rocking back onto the back leg. This is similar to a karate front stance, karate back stance. That's all that is. The stances in karate are actually meant to be in transition. So weight forward, boom. You're gonna rock back. And, oh, there's a bug. I'm not gonna crush him. I'm going to sweep him away. So, that's a little lesson in Jainism. I'm not a Jainist, but if you want to look up the Jains, that's what they would do. They would be very careful not to step on bugs. So from here, arms akimbo, we're going to cut the hip, rock back. Cut the hip, rock back, cut the hip, rock back. So you notice this, if my hip here is a hinge and my body is a door, it's like you close the door, slam the door, slam the door. Here, 45, load, slam. Power of your hook comes in motion of the body, the rocking of the body. And that's what we're going to do here. We're going to rock the body. So from here, 1, 2, 1, 2. Here, hand on the telephone, this hand up. So you can either throw this off a straight right, this hip is forward, you're going to come for the hook. Or you can feint. He thinks you're going to punch. You can either feint or you can just move. And then you're going to deliver your hook. Now, all your arm does is your arm is here, it's going to go to here. So you're basically 90-degree angle. What this does is it creates what's known as a tendon lock. Here is a isosceles triangle. So this is the strongest way. You can resist pushing in, you can resist pulling out. If you're in too far, you can collapse it, and it's very hard to straighten. If you're out too straight, you can extend and put pressure on the joint. But if you have the isosceles triangle, there's a lot of power and strength in a triangle. Even though there's no top on it, it's very stable. And you're just going to turn it over. So when you turn over your punch, now you're going to turn over. It's almost like hammering down. It's like a hammer type motion. Now, there's 3 ways to have your fist. This is the American way of throwing the hook, and this is the way I like to throw the hook. I just find it less damaging to the hand when you're hitting heavy bags and things like that. You can also, the standard way to do it, the basic way that usually you're taught, is after you come forward, boom, turn it down, turn it down. Now another thing with your hook is you either want to be level or slightly on a decline. You don't want to be throwing your hooks this way. Boom, it's going to collapse up. You're not going to have the mechanical advantage. It's almost like a hammer. So when you have a hammer, you want to hit with the head of the hammer. You don't want to hit with the side of the hammer. So from here, mechanical advantage, boom. Nice isosceles triangle. And it's going to look like this. It's going to look like 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Or to twist here, you can go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And as you can see, the power doesn't really come from the arm. It comes from the rocking of the body. Boom. All your body power goes into the punch. Third hand position, I've heard it described as the Russian hook, is you throw your hook and you overturn. It's the same as turning down your jab, turn down your jab. So the only difference is you're going to jab, but leave your arm at 90 degrees and you twist it over. Now the benefit of this is if you do a long hook, and you throw it out this way, you're going to hit with these two big knuckles. The problem with the American style hook is if you throw a long hook, you're going to hit probably mostly with these joints, which is fine if you land on the neck or if you land on the jaw. But if you twist it over, boom, if you accidentally hit the skull or something hard, you'll hit with these two knuckles in a flailing type motion. So it's like boom, like a flail, boom. But we're going to do the 90-degree hook. The difference between a long hook and a short hook is, if you see, I can hook, if he's further away, I can hook further, boom. Or I can throw it like a jab. Instead of throwing a jab, I throw a hook. So the difference between this, instead of rocking back, I'm throwing it like a hook, like a jab. And if he has his arm in front, boom, you can go around sometimes. A lot of boxers like the lunging front hook. Roy Jones Jr. comes to mind. Mike Tyson would use this as well, but we're just going to go with the basic hook. So again, basics are hip forward, lock back, protect, defend. So off of a straight right, one, boom, here's another combination, boom, but we're just going to do the punch. 1, 2, 3. So notice when you throw it, boom, it goes. But my hook's not left back here. I'm not leaving my hook behind. If that happens naturally, fine, but when you're practicing, we're working on perfect technique. So from here, 1, 2, 2, slam the door in, boom, slam the door in, slam the door in. And there's a surprising amount of power in that hook. So, here's my center line. When I throw the hook, I'm not leaving it, I'm crossing the center line. Boom, boom, boom. Anyway, we'll work on some finer points as time goes by. There's a few things to work on. If you have any questions, if you have anything you'd like to add down below, please. And until next time, who loves you, baby? Goodbye.